Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. We are sponsored by Bill Bryan Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. They're located at 3401 U.S. Highway 441 in Fruitland Park. And how are you this morning, Mr. Weltman?
Well, I'm glad to be acknowledged. Thank you very much, Greg. That was nice. I thought I was going to get blown off. Hey,
No.
ready to rise. I said, you're going to do the show by yourself, and I appreciate that. Hey, thanks for checking in.
I couldn't do it myself.
Yes, you could, but that's the last time I'll say that. But you and I both know that is the case. But it's been rather an exciting week in sports. Let's get the stuff that's over and done with. And a recap of the NCAA basketball. Think that we both had North Carolina once my original pick was lost, once UCLA lost. But I thought that North Carolina played I'm not going to even call it a decent basketball game. I thought that the finals, and I understand good defense and everything else, but I thought both teams really didn't execute the way they're supposed to. And I don't know if you checked it out or had any thoughts on that. But then,
I did a little bit. The only thing that came across with me is the horrific refereeing.
Well, but you know what? That's what's happening now. Is you've got guys guys with the ball are going to. They're going to get contact.
Yeah.
They're going to make you make a call one way or the other.
Right.
And so a lot of times you're going to see some bad officiating, like you said, and you're going to see some. I don't know if I'm qualified to say what's good officiating or bad officiating, but by the same token, as I watch the kids play, you've got to call something, and if you don't, that makes you look even worse. Then I love the phrase, they're letting them play out there. They're not calling fouls, is what you're saying.
Well, but I like that when they do that. I mean,
you're right. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But by the same token, then next thing you know, you got people crashing into each other.
Right.
And I don't like the. I wish that announcers would not nitpick the foul. That was a ticky-tack call. I mean, you really can't tell. You have no idea.
Right.
But by the same token, when a guy coming to the hoop, and 5 guys hit the deck, probably somebody got fouled.
Yeah.
So you got to figure it out. I didn't think the officiating was great or bad. I thought that the play was not stellar. I thought that both teams, they bring up the court, throw it inside to their guy who throw it back out. They dribble around and shoot a 22-foot fadeaway, and neither team was hitting them.
Right.
The big guy with the beard, the guy from Poland, that plays for Gonzaga, he had a miserable day making hoops. He was playing his butt off, but he couldn't make anything.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that hurt him too. But the foul shooting was putrid.
Yeah.
Excuse my French on that one, but it really was. And
they shot 25%.
Yeah, it was, and I mean it was always. And this guy's a 90% free throw shooter, and clank.
Right.
And I said, well, if he is, he's really, taking the pipe on this because things aren't going in. But
it seemed as though neither team wanted to win the championship.
Well, that's another way. But again, and this happens a lot. And we were talking about the coaches giving in to the players. But the one guy for Gonzaga, I can't remember. It's a hyphenated last name, Goss or something. He twisted his ankle really awful. He really rolled his ankle.
Right.
And he decided he wanted to stay in the game. Big mistake. Big mistake. So. I found that to be very, very disconcerting. But I know the guy wants to play. I know his heart's into it. I know he's playing to win the game, and he's giving all he's got. But the fact of the matter is, you end up hurting your team.
Right.
And I thought he hurt his team. So
yeah.
So don't know if that Other than that, I love the NCAA. Love to watch I thought South Carolina had a great tournament. I thought they played very well. They couldn't make it, but they played. I like the spirit. I like the, nobody saw that coming, and they got to the Final Four. I thought that was pretty impressive.
I have a friend who's a Duke alumni.
Yeah.
So he was really upset, that Duke Duke had to play South Carolina, and apparently the game was moved to South Carolina. So basically, it was a home game for South Carolina
it was.
because of the bathroom issue in North Carolina.
Oh.
I was like, jeez.
Is that right? Is
yeah,
that what okay.
So you got that political correct stuff going on.
Okay, well, then they get that's what happens, I guess. But to me, it's just there's so many things now that everybody gets all concerned about.
Right.
You know, truthfully, well, I like I said, it's not going to change. So to do a rant on it even is silly. But the fact of the matter is, good NCAA tournament in the sense that I love to watch the upstart teams perform well, and it was just great drama. The drama of the finals was good, but I didn't think either team played especially well, and nor did I think the officiating was that great. But by the same token, what constitutes good officiating? I think consistency is all you can ask for. If you're going to call a foul every time somebody bangs into somebody, is that bad officiating? I don't know. Right. To me, it's bad if you come in 3 times and I hack you, and they call it. And the next 3 times you come in and I hack you, and they don't call it. To me, that's bad officiating.
Right.
But it's interesting. It's intriguing. Oh, and while we're on the subject, the thing I really don't get now is when they go to check the things out in the replays, and it's fairly obvious to everybody. We were talking about this in the car and whatever. They go and they look, and even they're replaying. And I said, well, you can see his foot didn't touch the 3-point line. And they still have to look at it for like 15 minutes. I mean, how many angles do you have to look to make sure if his foot's over the line in the first angle you looked at, it's probably going to be over the line in the next 15 angles you look at. But I guess they have to be thorough. Under what's the guys? You've got to get it right. I'm not sure you can. I think sometimes there are some calls that you can't get right because they were bang bang, and you can replay them till you're blue in the face, and you still can't tell what happened. If somebody got fouled, if somebody's on the line, anytime somebody's it's like the difference between an ace and tennis. A point and a fault is an 1/18 of an inch. I mean. If you hit a good, and that's why they always do those challenges where everybody goes, oh, and they applaud, and you can see if the serve's in or not. But I mean, truthfully, it's no different than any other sport. But you can't, the naked eye can't visually detect what's going on. You can do the replays, and you still can't tell for sure.
Well, I fall into that philosophical school.
I hate the philosophical school, but that's okay.
It's the old question: if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there, does it
make a sound? Yes.
Well, if a referee doesn't make a call, is it a penalty?
Well, you're talking about like if an umpire calls it a strike, even if it's 15 feet above your head. Right. It's not arguable.
Right.
It's okay.
And I kind of fall into that camp where I don't like these incessant stops and of the game and the I guess I'm jumping on the rant thing right now instead of
I like it. No,
but it just drives me crazy. It's like to me it's just like whatever the ref calls. You got to live with it.
Yeah.
Because we can get into the Lexi Thompson thing as well. It's another ridiculous.
Well,
thing.
that's golf rules in general.
Yeah.
But no, getting back to what you're saying before, if we decided that's the way we're going to do it, I say let's do it.
Right.
Let the officials. I mean, all the players make mistakes.
Sure.
Players swing at pitches out of the strike zone.
Absolutely.
Sometimes the arbiter makes is inaccurate. But live with it. You go with it. I mean, what else can you do?
Right.
I mean, but this thing, we have to stop the game for 20 minutes to make sure we get it right. First of all, you don't make sure you get it right.
Right.
If it's blatantly wrong and you can change it in a minute, okay, fine. But let's see 15 angles of it. No, I'm not into that.
Well, I was telling you about that game where the guy, throws across the diamond, and from the camera angle, like the third base, you could see into the glove, and the ball is sort of rolling around. Now this is all at slow motion.
Slow motion.
You know, so as the ball is like rolling around in the glove, the guy is crossing first base. Clearly he was out because the ball was in the guy's glove. But from the umpire's perspective, he's getting the side view. He doesn't see the ball rolling, you know, inside the glove. But, you know, it just was so ridiculous. It was so stupid. You know, so we're gonna break this down.
Yeah.
Let's
break it down.
Frame 164.
Like you said, like the Zapruder film.
Yeah, you know, it's like frame 164. It was still rolling around. He didn't have full control of it.
That's
you know,
right.
It's like, you know. So.
Well, like I said, the game is not a perfect game to begin
Right.
with. So I would, if it were up to me, and it certainly isn't, of course, but I would just say, the heck with instant replay.
Yeah,
I would say it. I would.
Yep.
I'll say it right now. And somebody's, yeah, but what if they made a mistake? Well, if they can't get together as a group
Right.
and come up with it, I don't. To me, it's like I said, it's like swinging a bat. You'll never get. You can't rectify a swipe tag on somebody that's coming into second base. Here's the play at second. The guy swipes the tag at the guy. There's no proof, and there's no. You can't guarantee the guy tagged him or didn't tag him.
Right.
And so it's going to be a call that's going to have to be made based on what it looked like.
Right.
And if I'm an ump or if I'm a fan, I think, well, the ball beat him there. He's out.
Right.
If you miss the tag and it's obvious, okay. Like if it's obvious, the guy who's getting paid the money is going to see it's obvious too.
Right.
But I just okay. We have to slow it down. Did he get part of his pant leg as he went by with the tank? And I think, oh, no, you can't do this. You know, meanwhile, although it is good because I've always liked to go back and, you know, put more Cheetos in the bowl. It's always good. So actually, I kind of like instant replay. Wait, I've changed my mind.
Okay.
More chance for snacks, I think. But it's got to stop, and but it's not going to. But they've got to.
I think if we complain enough, it'll stop.
You're right. But I mean, the fact of the matter is that we're trying to get games to go faster. That's not going to make it go faster.
Oh, and like the intentional walk now, which is another travesty.
It is a travesty. It's a walk. It takes 10 seconds.
They had the 14 inning game the other night. They had like 3 intentional walks. So they saved a minute in that 3 hour and 45 minute 14 game.
Well, plus I still, you know, it is done by imperfect people. So as we said before, I'm in your camp on the intentional walk thing.
Yeah.
It's a pitch.
Yeah.
Throw the pitch.
Right.
Catch the
But,
pitch.
I mean, to me, you're really messing with the game itself.
Well, I mean, it comes to a point where, you know, there are times when pitchers. They're not going to give the guy something good to hit.
Right.
They're going to nibble.
Yep.
I mean, why not just say, "Oh, I don't, you know, I'd rather put him on first base." No, you got to throw the ball.
Right.
And I've seen intentional walks. I've seen pitches get thrown over catchers' heads. I've seen balls thrown in the dirt. I've seen people hit balls.
And you've seen people steal bases
That's
while
it.
they're doing. I mean,
it's got to be done.
Yeah.
And you're not saying to me.
Right.
It's excuse the French. It's a bastardization of baseball.
Yeah.
When you start saying, well, we don't have to do that now. We just want to put them on.
And then I was telling you earlier too. The thing that I miss is the crazy managers flying out of the dugout. Arguing calls. I mean,
I love that. You made a really good point. I think that's because now with the instant replay.
Right. I mean, he meekly stands on the second step and kind of waves to the umpire.
Throws a thing out on the field. I don't agree with that call.
Yeah, I mean, it just drops his white hanky.
Where's Lou Pinello?
I know.
Lou Pinello behind with
Tommy Lasorda kicking dirt at somebody. Yeah,
he'd be shooting everybody in the infield. I mean, that's what you want to see. You want to see a little, oh boy, how's the manager going to react to this? But no, I just wanted to get, like I said, mini run out of the way and get the NCAA out of the way because we got lots of baseball, lots of golf, lots of hockey, and lots of other stuff to talk about.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Mr. Bryan, and take us out.
You are listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. And as Bob said, we are sponsored by Bill Bryant Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. They're located at 3401 U.S. Highway 441 in Fruitland Park. Their phone number is 352-787-2223. And we will be right back after these messages from a couple of other sponsors as well. We are back with Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410. That was a quick break.
It was a quick break, and sometimes we can always go to instant replay or something to slow up the break a little bit next time. Maybe.
I think they're just anxious to get us back on the air.
I think that's exactly right. But we got, like I said, we had a lot to talk about. But first, getting house cleaning tips out of the way here. And this is tragic news, and I say that tongue in cheek, of course. But at the Charleston, South Carolina Family Circle Tennis Center, the women's tournament, the Volvo Car Open, there are no more ovas left.
That is a shame.
That is. Anastasia Sevastova, who was the 8th seed and the only ova remaining, is out. But the good news, to make up for that, Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova is in the semifinals of the Alberto Segueros tournament in Monterrey, Mexico. So 1 ova left in Mexico, no ovas in South Carolina. Wow. So that had to be reported. And one of the things I did want to talk about before, real quickly, if you enjoy non-professional, high-quality athletic competition, the finals of the college hockey championships are tonight. And if you want to see two teams that look like professional teams, Denver's playing Minnesota Duluth in Chicago. Right. Watch it. You want to see Denver. Denver's got maybe 10 guys that are going to be playing in the NHL next year. And, I mean, you don't hear about these type of things. But I look forward to seeing the Beanpot and the NCAA tournament. And these teams are unbelievable. And they had to beat an awful lot of good teams to get to the finals. But if you like hockey, if you're a hockey fan, and I am. Right.
As am I.
And Minnesota Duluth, Denver, that's going to be just a wonderful, wonderful game to watch.
Right.
Watch it. I don't know if it might be a blowout or not, but two teams that really play with heart. They give a darn. It's, no arguing, no,
right.
Official. Talk about letting them play.
Yeah.
You want to see officials that let them play. They're not calling any penalties unless not if you draw blood, unless the emergency, the EMT has to come out on the ice. Then they'll give you 2 minutes or something. But the fact of the matter is the kids all play. I mean, back in this league, in the pros, where it's expected guys are going to take penalties. Boy, if you take a penalty, your whole team treats you like some kind of a black sheep.
Right.
I mean, you aren't supposed to, in the championship, put your team down 2 minutes. Right. So if you make a mistake and you trip somebody, it's like being sent away to the cornfield. I mean, it's amazing to watch, but it's fabulous hockey, and I totally endorse watching that. And before we get to baseball, let's the white elephant in the room is also the Masters.
Right.
And I know you were checking out some of the teams and some of the players, and I think I might have told you this. I was lamenting. I finally got into one of those pools, where you get to pick 5 players and see how they do. You have to pick somebody from the top 5 players, and then somebody from 6 through 15. Right. And I had 6 players, and my guy that I took in the top 5 was Dustin Johnson, and Dustin Johnson didn't make the cut because he didn't play, but he didn't call me to tell me, don't pick me, Bob, because I'm not going to be there. So I mailed in my entry fee. I'm not going to get it back. So and Zach Johnson didn't help me either. So my Rom is my Rom, Oosthuizen, and Russell Henley. So if you guys you want to see truth and justice as it should be applied in this tournament, root for my 3 guys, because Dustin, although I was hardly the only guy that took Dustin Johnson.
Why isn't he not playing?
He fell down the steps.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure what.
Right.
You never get the stories on this
right.
thing. And I'm not suggesting he was drunk, but something wrong with. I couldn't get down the stairs the night before the biggest golf tournament. I don't.
Paulina Gretzky had something to do
with that. Don't tell me. Oh,
taking some lessons from Tiger Woods.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you. Oh, that's just.
I'll have to check out TMZ Sports for that. I have not done that yet.
That's just mean. That's vicious. But the fact of the matter is getting to the players.
It's compelling radio is what it is.
Well, it is compelling radio. You can't beat it. But let's talk a little bit about the Masters because it's got something for everybody.
Yeah.
It's got the European flavor.
Right.
You got, Rory's doing well. And let's see, anybody else?
Well,
Sergio, Thomas Peters. Thomas Peters, boy, he's talking about he looks like a phenomenal golfer. And I know he played at Champaign. He played in Illinois. He played college golf in the States. They interviewed him after his round. I'll tell you what, that you want to see, it's like paint drying. I mean, come on, Thomas. At least, somebody's trying to get him to elaborate, and
Right.
he just wouldn't do it. Well, yeah. Well, I had to make that one, and I had to miss that one. I mean, it was something I didn't want to see. But so you got Sergio, you got Peters, Rory, Rahm.
I like
Justin Rose.
Fred Couples.
That's what I mean. And they got the old guy in.
Yeah.
It's always good. They got to have an old guy that's always
Right.
in defying time, father time, and
Yep.
and he is. So and
One under.
he's got a phenomenal golf swing. So
Yeah.
if his back is holding up, he'll be there. I wasn't impressed with his short game. Justin Rose, another Brit who is an excellent player. But the Americans, Spieth and Mickelson.
Yeah.
And Charlie Hoffman, but Spieth and Mickelson, who are guys you expect to be, they're both even par. They're 4 back, so that's fantastic. I mean,
I can't believe Spieth shot a 9 on the 15th hole.
And you can look at it that way, and he's still 4 back.
Yeah, I know.
If he pars it, he's
I mean, it didn't rattle him. A lot of times you get an example of that is Danny Willett.
He's gone.
He had an 8.
Yeah.
And never recovered from that, and the defending champion is cut.
Well, like
At
I
least he'll
said,
be there tomorrow to give somebody the green jacket.
I've played a lot of golf, and the lament of when somebody asks you how you played and said, "Well, I had a 75, but I had 3 balls out of bounds." Well, then you didn't play very well. What was that, like an aberration that you hit the ball into the part of the golf course where you get penalized?
Well,
I mean, if you get an 8,
it's all relative.
You're making mistakes. I mean,
it's all relative because someone who hits 3 balls out compared to me, that's great.
Well, but people say like, I 3-putted 4 times for my 77. Okay. So what are you saying? That the putting doesn't matter? I mean, you're saying, so if you just putt like a normal human being, you had a good score. Well, so I guess you didn't make any. Right. That's what I mean. So, but I'm always amazed. Yeah, he had a 9, but he probably birdied 4 holes that I couldn't bogey on my best day.
Right.
It's, but I guess I like his demeanor. And a lot of people I don't even know if he's polarizing. He's not a giddy type of guy, but he did give his goalie. He gave his caddy all the credit for the round. Said the guy kept him focused because he started off bad, and the guy said, "Look, knock it down." So that's good. So I'm glad to see him do that. And to me. Okay, you looked at the guys. Do you have a special person you're rooting for?
I always like Jordan Spieth.
You do like Spieth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's like I said, I guess, and I'm not. I have my choices. I guess the fact of the matter is that I think that Couples obviously is a sentimental choice, but
Sure.
do I think he's going to hold up? Absolutely not. But the guy I kind of like is I like Justin Rose and I like Adam Scott.
Right.
So I think they're both 3 and 4 back. I mean, I think that one of them will be there in the final group. But somebody could light it up. Ricky Fowler could light it up. I mean,
Yeah.
Hoffman apparently with his 65 or something in the first round. Everybody said it was ridiculous. I don't know if they throw the superlatives around, but apparently it was. You had to be God's gift to golf to shoot par. That weather was so bad opening day. Guy shot a 65. A 65, for God's sake.
Right.
That's ridiculous. But isn't it true? If you make your putts, and he said, I just made my putts.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I find it riveting television and high drama, and I see golf as hasn't gone the way that basketball has gone, in the sense that, and this is another mini rant, but we've got time for it, so I'm going to go over it. And we talked about it a little bit before, but I don't mind if you show me somebody's wife
Right.
in the stands or on the sidelines, or if you show a celebrity. I do not want to see them every minute, depending on what has happened to their team or their husband or
Right.
their spouse. And this, I just find it very cloying and annoying. Okay, here's a celebrity and he's rooting for Team A, and now they're behind by 3, and they cut to the celebrity and he's all upset. And then they come back and they're up 3 points, and they cut to him and he's happy and jovial. I think, really, do we really need that? I mean, isn't the game? It's bad enough that the game's not holding our attention, and it's a dogfight down at the end. Now we got to worry about people's mother and father and what. I show them once. I have no problem. Hey, look who's here!
Right.
It's so and so's husband and wife, or mother and father, or something. But please, not every play, and that's what it's coming to. They cut to the one lady, and she's there with her arms folded, praying. And then they cut to her again, and she's screaming at the officials. And I think, okay, but it's not. I didn't think it was her show.
Profanity-laced
tirade.
Right.
All of a sudden, from prayers to
Yes.
God to you. Yeah, that's so. But I just that's something that it seems to be happening a lot in sports, because you can do it.
Right.
I understand it's everybody has access to everybody all the time world now. I hate it. But that's the way it is.
Right.
And the obligation that I've got to be, I don't want to have people to have access to me, not that they would, but even if I was a high-profile person, there are times when I don't want to be accessed.
Right.
So I don't want 24/7, tweet me, call me, but no, I don't want any of it.
See, and here's the problem I have, because it kind of turns me off. The one that does it the worst is Fox. When they have like a championship baseball game, and they have every star of all of their shows in the stands, and they're constantly showing, there's
that's right,
Joe Schmo.
I hate that. I really don't like that.
And it's like, I just go, well, you know what? You showed me that guy. I'm never watching that show ever again. Or, I'm not going to.
Or,
I just don't.
Well, no, and obviously they say, and guess who we'll have in the booth in inning number 5?
Right.
Your favorite Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory will be here, and you think, oh, man. Okay, so, that's we're looking forward to seeing him in the booth.
Right.
So, but, no, you're with me on that.
So are you a baseball fan? No.
No, I'm not. I was told to be at the game.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know really who's how to keep score. The fact of the matter is, it's such a promotional pulpit.
Yeah.
That I understand.
It's like just over the top, in your face, and done too much.
Well, you're right. There's nothing better when it's 2-2 in the 9th inning and the bases loaded. And don't forget, Roseanne Barr will be a guest of so-and-so's at 11:30 tonight. And I think, really?
Yeah.
Really? Can't you wait until the stinking batter's over? But so that's me. I just we agree on that one. I find that tough. And like I said, before we get into baseball, I'm just wrapping up loose notes. Another loose note is the United States women did top Canada in overtime to win the gold at the World Championship, and in Plymouth, Michigan. And I guess that's great. I watched the highlights. To me, and this is another. They show highlights. They show the goals being scored, and you think, wow. Look at all the fun. They're not showing you the 55 minutes. And this is every game, not just the ladies' game.
Right.
Hey, look, he's making jump shots. They don't show you the 50 that he missed.
Right.
So, and same with them. But I think this is a phenomenal achievement for the women in terms of anytime the United States can beat Canada in a hockey game, I think that you got to feel pretty good about it, because that was something that was unthinkable 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Men's, women's, whatever. I mean, it's just,
Right.
you don't think of it that way. So, pretty cool.
Hey, all I know is, just to put this in perspective for me, I just find too much political correctness in this.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So
You're going to go into the stands, right?
I am.
Yes,
I
like
have
this.
to.
Yeah, but the truth, the truth is the truth.
They play in an arena that holds 3,500 people in Michigan. Was it Plymouth? Is that?
Yes, Plymouth, Michigan. I don't know where that is. But where is that?
I don't know. It's in Michigan.
Probably northern Michigan.
Not the one in Massachusetts.
No.
Holds 3,500 people. They can't even sell it out. So, right.
Well, I know. I'm with you on that. I do understand that, but I'm looking at the recap of it. The Americans won their 4th straight title and 8th in the last 10 tries against their rivals. And listen to this: the rivals will get a shot at revenge as defending Olympic champions next year in South Korea.
Right. Which brings up since you're going to go there, or since you've mentioned it, the NHL is saying that they don't want their players to play in the Olympics.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right, and
that just came through.
Yeah, so Alex,
everybody's horrified. Yeah,
Alex, you know what? But I kind of agree with that. I'm done with professionals in Olympic sports. I mean,
well, you're going to hear, like I said, most of the papers are pretty liberal, so you're going to hear people saying that's a shame. Why people want to see them? No, I don't. I want to see
them in the NHL.
I want to see the amateur.
Right.
I want to see Denver.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to see them play.
Yes.
Same thing in the basketball in the Olympics. I want to see North Carolina play Russia.
Right.
I don't want to see the guys that are already making $60 million a year. To me, what are you proving? And somebody says, "Well, hey, the Russians they're professional," but that's right. Okay, but I'm talking about America.
Right.
Olympics were for non-professional athletes.
Right.
Isn't that the whole idea of it? Amateur athletics? And it's not happening. Now it's become promotionally, how can we make the most money? So I could care less about the Olympics anymore. I really don't.
Me either. And I watch the NHL. I see all those guys anyway, so there's nothing compelling for me to watch an Olympic hockey game because I see all those players all the time.
That's
so
what I mean. But wouldn't it be fun? Like that, the 80s, when the 80 Miracle on Ice, and you're not going to see that again.
No.
And I want to see that. That to me those are compelling storylines. I love those.
I don't think we want the Soviet Union back, do we?
No. No. So again, thanks to Mr. Brian and the gang, and we'll be back after the break.
All right. You're listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. We are sponsored by Bill Bryan Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. They're located at 3401 U.S. Highway 441, Fruitland Park. Their number is 352-787-2223. You can call them and get a great oil change. And we will be right back after these messages. We are back. Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. And if you'd like to call in and join the show, it's 352-315-1410.
In fact, we challenge you to call in and find one mistake that Greg and I have made. I don't think we've made any mistakes so far. We're mistake-free.
The phones will be silent.
Yeah, that's right. That wasn't much of a challenge.
No.
But and like I said, I keep saying we're going to get to baseball, but I keep seeing things that I made notes that I really want to talk about, and I do want to talk about this because this seems to be the big hot topic, and now I'm extrapolating it to other sports too. And this is the NBA has had players that now that there's a big squawk because they've got their national television package, and you're getting coaches now that are sitting star players and not playing them, trying to keep them healthy. And that used to be welcomed and, in fact, encouraged. If you're in the playoffs, why would you risk hurting one of your star players?
Right.
But by the same token, in a desperate attempt to try to make sure that they get the ratings maximized on the television side, and obviously on the radio it's not going to matter, but we've had discussions on this too. I've kind of vacillated on how I've looked at it. I think, though, the bottom line is that I think that there is an obligation to let people know if you're going to rest people.
Right.
I mean, ahead of time. Well, I talked about the thing. In fact, I was surprised. One of the other talk shows I'd heard on a national talk show, basically an idea that I'd proposed before about if you're going to sit somebody, he's got to sit for a week.
Yeah.
You know, find the week and sit them.
Right.
And let everybody know that's the week
Right.
where, JoJo's not playing or Greg's not playing. I mean, that's okay. But this thing, I was thinking, that does kind of stink. That somebody's getting a good chance to see. I'll bring LeBron James into it or Westbrook. But then they're going to sit out and the kid's disappointed. And I thought, that's awful. And I thought, wait a minute. I've been to football games where I wanted to go see Johnny Unitas play when I was a kid, and he didn't play.
Right.
And there's no. I was more interested in hoping the Steelers won than seeing Johnny Unitas. But things have changed now. You've got to have, superstar things. But I'm thinking, boy, if, a football ticket. If you sit Tom Brady, if the Patriots clinch after 14 games, and you sit him the 15th and 16th game, and somebody bought a ticket to that game, do they have a right to be upset because they're not going to get to see Tom Brady play?
Right.
Do they? I don't know. What do you think?
I think there's so many things that people get upset about that
Yeah.
I'm all upsetted out.
Yeah, I am too.
I mean,
it's politically correct again.
call
what a
the
shame.
wambulance. Wham, it's just.
But the truth of the matter is, hasn't that always been the case with anything you purchase, or whether you buy tickets to a concert and it can't, if it either gets canceled or the electronics malfunction and you don't get to hear it very well,
Right.
or the guy shows up. I remember I went and saw Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. And I had no business to expect that they would all sound. Three of them sounded horrible, and I thought, well, this is what I paid for.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna have a real tough time getting my money back.
What?
And frankly, if it was done live, I'm sure there's a lot of concerts that are taped and done live, and if the person was not at their best, that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I guess I have come full circle. I like the idea of
Well, here. Okay. I'm
no,
gonna
I was just
interrupt you,
no,
sorry.
but I was just going to say I was thinking, that is kind of bad. But the more I think about it, there's so many ways to get around it and appease the television viewer or the ticket-paying customer.
Yeah.
Like I said, and we were talking about. Remember the fact that a lot of these players don't want to play 10 minutes because it's going to hurt their individual statistics,
Right.
And they may have contracts that are based on if you score 20 points a game,
Right.
or if you get 8 rebounds or something, that kicks in as an incentive. So why would I want to, play 5 minutes in a game where I might score 6 points and that might bring my 20-point scoring average all the way down to 18 or something, or
Right.
Why would I do that? And I'm thinking, if this is such a prevalent situation, then have a throw out the 5 games where somebody sits, or I don't know how else to do it. I mean, if you're worried about those type of how about a mandatory? Everybody sits out 5 games a year. You make it part of the pro contract. Maybe it'll be the union thing. Okay, you're allowed to have 10 games, but you have to pick the 10 games before the year starts that you aren't going to play. And then everybody can see what they are, before the schedule comes out.
Well, and that's what I was going to bring up and I don't know if they do this in basketball. I should check this out. But in baseball, like when the Yankees play Boston, they charge more money than when the Yankees play Toronto or Kansas City, because it's just, I don't know if they do that in basketball. But if they're charging like more money for tickets that Cleveland comes into town, then I think you expect all of their players, if they're healthy, to be playing.
Well,
or give me my money back, or a portion of my money back.
Well, that's an interesting point. But again, the money's not going to be refunded.
Oh no, I know.
So they're going to have to figure out a way to appease the problem as it is.
Right.
And I don't know if there's, a solution.
I got the solution.
What is it?
Just play.
Yeah, well, I like that solution too. But the point is, I can, as a coach, tell somebody they're hurt.
Right.
You just hurt your ankle. You're not going
Right,
in.
right.
I mean, and who's
Sure.
going to prove me wrong?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think this just goes down to whining. It's just so important to see LeBron James in a game somewhere, on the road. I mean, it's so your life revolves, my poor kids are going to be scarred for life because
They missed
LeBron.
They had to
sat.
watch Kyrie Irving
Yeah.
and Kevin Love, but
Yeah.
not. Yeah, I
Right.
know.
And it's just I just want to slap those kids. Firstly, if they ever cried over that, and
Well, yeah, no, you make a good point, but that's where we are
right.
as a society.
Just,
So we have to. But
as my father said, you cry, I'll give you something to cry about.
That's right. You want to cry, and I'll give you something to cry about. But no, but the TV packages.
Right.
If you're selling major advertising, putting major advertising dollars into the network,
Well,
you don't want to hear that LeBron decided to take the night off.
you talk about refunding money. They do refund money to those people. They won't refund it to you and me.
No, but
they
they'll refund to the advertisers.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
it's,
but they don't want to do that.
no, they don't. They don't.
So I mean, so somebody's going to go to Cleveland or somebody's going to go to L.A. or
Right.
wherever the superstar is and say, we need you to play this game.
Yeah.
And I still don't see what even for 5 minutes. And if it is a statistical thing, then when we do the statistics, let's
Right.
just say there were 3 games
Right.
instead of a did not play or rested or
Right.
played.
Yeah, there must be a good acronym for the
there's something.
sabermetrics
Yeah,
people.
You're right. Yeah, there's a whip or a war in
Right.
there somewhere. Yeah, that's right. That they can do that, so they can make up what's going on.
Right.
But no, like I said, the call-in line again 352-315-1410. This is an interesting topic, and there's no right or wrong answer to it. But the fact of the matter is that it's now become. I was trying to think if it's always been a problem.
Right.
And I think it has, but nobody ever made a big deal about it before. I mean, it wasn't a problem. The fact is, you weren't guaranteed that you were going to go see
Right.
Superstar X because you got tickets to the game.
And again, I'm sorry, I'm going to bring in politics and
I love
political correctness. And
I love it.
It's another entitlement.
Yes, it's an entitlement.
Hey, I plopped down $150 to watch Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm entitled to see
LeBron.
Right.
Well, no, you're not, because he's not playing.
Right.
And you're right. But I mean, you're right. But that is, I think you got a point there that, the idea was to go see the Cavaliers play a basketball game. Just like when I got tickets when I was a kid, we go to the Pirate game, I get real excited.
Right.
Now, if Roberto Clemente didn't play because he was hurt
Right.
or whatever, I had no beef.
Right.
They had another professional
Sure.
player out in the outfield.
That's right.
And maybe he'll do better than Roberto this game. And you never know. But the idea is you don't go to the game, don't buy the ticket based on seeing
Yeah.
one particular player.
Right.
Now, the agents will say, yeah, you do.
Right.
No, I don't think you do. I think you go to see the team. And if you can't realize or recognize the fact when you buy a ticket to any sporting event, just like or any rock concert or anything else, if David Crosby can't sing or Stephen Stills can't sing anymore, as I found out, nobody's going to give me my money back.
Right.
But if you've gone, and I heard Neil Diamond was on like the eighth date of a tour. Neil Diamond couldn't even talk.
Yeah.
He was so hoarse.
Right.
But I think we paid like $90 to go see him. So it was instead of song sung blue, it was song whispered blue or song rasped blue, whatever. So he wasn't exactly singing songs, but I mean, that's the way it goes. I mean, that's caveat emptor, let the buyer beware.
Yeah.
And darn well when you buy tickets to something, you may not like it.
Right.
Your team may not win.
Sure.
Somebody may get hurt during it. It may rain. It may be an 8-hour game because they play 3 innings and it rains for an hour and they play 3 games. I mean, there's no guarantee. Right. So you have nothing to stand on. But I see nobody's taking that approach, and I know that they're not going to. But it'll be interesting to see where this goes. But In truth, it doesn't have to go anywhere. You're right.
I guess it's human nature, I suppose, to just constantly complain about stuff.
What makes you think that? You must live in the villages or near them. So, yeah.
But it's just funny to me that like life is so perfect that all that's on the airwaves and newspapers, endless amounts of ink being spilled because LeBron James sat out a game, or it's like, really, this is what's so compelling.
What happens if you have season tickets and in the first game of the year he tears his Achilles?
Yeah,
you're not going to get a refund,
right?
You got season tickets to the Cleveland Cavaliers. You're going to watch the Cleveland Cavaliers whether they got LeBron or they don't.
Right.
So I mean, it's well, maybe it's a moot point. Like I said, it's a tempest in a teapot. It sure seems like it. So everybody's up. They are aghast that people are sitting out their players.
Yeah.
If I'm the coach, I'm going to look at the city, the people that come to the games and say, don't you want us to win the championship?
Right.
Why in the world would I risk having him get hurt
Right.
in a game that's meaningless in the standings
Right.
to appease somebody? So intriguing enough. But so that was just something. I saw that and I thought that's an interesting dilemma. But it does span all the sports. I was thinking not just the NBA, but football where you play 16 games. Yeah. If you're looking forward to the Dallas Cowboys coming in so you can see Roger Staubach, and Roger Staubach hurts himself the game before, even though you've been waiting for 3 years to see Roger Staubach,
right,
you're not going to see Roger Staubach, and that's too bad, but
Yeah.
go watch the football game, and the reward is hopefully your home team will beat Dallas. That's the way it works. So that's my take on it. Any more rants on that you want to say?
Nah.
Any more political jibes you want to take? I always like when Greg prepares us with his. I don't want to say anything. I know I don't want to be political. I know I'm into politically correct, and stuff. You're not.
No, I'm not.
Just the opposite. When you hear politically correct.
And speaking of which, ESPN just wrote they had
not
an article.
No.
They had an article for their op-ed or something where they declared vehemently that sports and politics are going to be something that they are going to push on their website, and they're because they are linked. They are linked.
It's one and the same.
Right.
And by the way, he didn't get any flack for it, but Ball, not the father, the kid, said something about in an interview about the 3 white guys on his team.
No, that was the father.
Oh, was it the father?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I thought, sorry. Well, that's, but I mean, that just amazes me.
Yeah.
Somebody can say something like that.
Right.
And everybody's going to say, oh, well, he's probably got a point because they really don't move that well. And I think, well, hot dog. I said, here we go again.
Yeah. I again, it's another thing. He's angling. We'll do a cliffhanger on this one.
I love it. Yeah. And then we'll also, I promise.
I got a couple of things to say about that.
And we also have lots of baseball. I mean, lots of baseball because Greg and I are the experts when it comes to analyzing baseball. Thank you, Greg.
You're welcome. You are listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, sponsored by Bill Bryant Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, and we will be right back after these messages. We are back with Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410. Our call-in line is 352-315-1410. And may I just do a self-indulging
I love it. Yeah.
thing here?
Well, I can't do it for you.
Well, I wanted your permission to,
okay.
to do it here.
I'm sorry. You've got it.
I last night I went to I was invited to go to a fundraiser for New Vision for Independence.
Yeah.
Which was at the Lake Receptions in Mount Dora.
Yeah.
It's an organization that assists blind people,
and
they had dinner in the dark or dining in the dark, which was pretty interesting. They bring you in the ballroom there; it's completely dark. the volunteers to do that was the Lake County SWAT team, so they were wearing their night vision goggles, and it was a pretty interesting experience. It was,
where was it held?
Lake Receptions.
Lake Receptions.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I guess it's like a catering hall.
Well, I think it's pretty cool. But I was going to say then they're used to it. But I was going to say I have a feeling the cleanup after that would be a little extensive, since nobody could see what they were doing while they were trying to eat.
Right.
That would make it a little tough. But
Yep.
I'll tell you what. That's I think that what a noble cause. What a great cause. New Visions. Is that what you call
Yeah,
them?
New Visions for Independence. They're a member of the Lady Lake Chamber of Commerce, which I'm involved with.
Right.
And my friend Mark Duchesne invited me to be his guest, and I appreciate that. He's the former vice president of the chamber. He's heavily involved in a lot of charities and stuff in the area. So
Well,
he's a great guy.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because you had told me a little bit about that on the way
Yeah.
over, and I thought, wow. The more I thought about it, I said, that's really what an interesting way to approach it. We're gonna feed everybody in the dark,
Right.
And
they bring you into the room. It's dark. You hold on to the SWAT team member, and they guide you to the table.
To your
It's
table.
It's completely
okay,
dark.
and you have to sort of feel around for like water glasses and
Yep.
stuff, and
Yeah.
and you have to remember where you put them.
Yep. Yeah.
Did you hear a lot of things getting knocked over?
You know what?
Dink.
A lot less than you would think. I
Yeah.
think there was
Probably
just one.
like normally.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And,
no, I mean that's
the one interesting thing was they served you a salad, and the dressing was on the side in a little carafe.
so you had to feel for it.
Yeah, and then like to
Eli.
judge how much you're pouring onto your salad. that was the tricky part.
I was gonna say, you have to use your fingers a lot to see if it's spread it around a little bit.
right.
But no, that's very intriguing. But I'll tell you what. No, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you mentioned it. Again, I'm going to let you get back
Okay.
to your cliffhanger. But call in if you have something you want to talk about. 352-315-1410 is the number. And Greg has a cliffhanger, which we love.
Yeah.
Here.
I already forgot what the cliffhanger
Red
was.
Zone. Okay, that wasn't as exciting as we wanted
Nah.
it to be. No, but he was talking about what were we talking about?
We were talking about baseball, but I forgot.
That's okay. I thought that.
More compelling radio by me.
Well, I'll tell you what. Then the heck with you and your. I'll tell you what. Oh, here's something compelling. I was looking at the starting. Okay, we're into baseball now. Finally, after
All
I
right.
told you, been teasing it for an hour. Now we got to it. But starting for the Cincinnati Reds today
Right.
is Bronson Arroyo. Now I thought Bronson Arroyo had retired like 10 years ago. And he is back pitching for the Reds. I guess his career, I know he was a guitarist and a rock star or something, and he had a couple albums and stuff out.
Really?
And I guess it didn't go so well.
I guess
So
not.
Bronson's back pitching. He's got to be 40, 41. But that's the new way to go now. In fact, I'm noticing, I told you, R.J. Dickey's pitching for Atlanta today against Pittsburgh. And let me see if there's any other golden oldies starting. I'm looking to see if anybody that I would. Oh, Tanaka's pitching against for the Yankees. How old's Tanaka? Or is that maybe I'm thinking he's real old and he's not.
No, he's young. I think he's like 28.
No, he looks like he's 50 though. That's the problem. He walks around like he's old. But no, that's right. Okay, so those are the two guys that are going to be pitching that are old this week. But I'm amazed because the life expectancy for pitchers now, you get a couple surgeries on your arm, you can pitch into your 40s and then some. I refer to Bartolo Colon, who I don't think had any surgeries, but he actually sat out for 2 years, and all it did was enable him to get his arm healthy and to just work on a whole new way of pitching, and it's really worked out for him.
Yeah.
He went from being a power pitcher to being a finesse pitcher,
Yeah.
and he's very good at it.
Yeah.
He's not fast, but he can move it all over the place.
He's got the so-called rubber arm, too.
Yeah, there's no-
Just,
So and like I said, I know that somewhere out there, Jared Weaver's pitching. And
somewhere.
I'll tell you what, you can't tell me the batters aren't licking their chops when he comes out. But he wins 10 games every year, so
Yeah.
that's good enough for some folks.
Well, the other day, Bartolo Colon and hooked up against DeGrom in the Met
DeGrom,
game.
and they were 0-0 in the seventh or something, or 1-0
Yep.
or something. Yeah,
It's,
that's amazing because you get both sides. So you get power pitching versus finesse pitching.
Yeah.
But Colon, like I said, I would have 5 years ago, if you would have said he's still pitching, I'd said nah, he can't.
Right.
And he's obviously changed his.
Yeah.
And I think Sabathia is working on that.
Yeah,
too.
actually, he had a good outing the other
Yes,
day.
he had a very good outing.
Yeah.
Like no runs,
Yeah.
few hits, and 5 or 6 innings.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's all you need.
Yeah.
I mean, these days,
Right.
with you've got your faux setup man, your real setup man, and then your setup man for your closer. And I mean, by the time you get to the ninth inning, everybody has punched the clock and thrown their 14 pitches per game in. So it's very intriguing. A tip of the hat. This is interesting. And just look before we get into the actual teams, but we were 4 or 5 games into the season. How many teams do you think are still defeated and have not won a game?
Have not won a game.
Yes.
I don't know.
None. Everybody's won a game.
Wow.
That's one way to keep everybody into it. But and like I said, the question that begs to be asked is, who hasn't lost yet? And
Well, I know the answer to that.
I know, but in the National League, hasn't lost?
Dodgers.
No, they've lost. Everybody's lost in the National League.
It was a trick question.
It was. I love
kind
it.
of thought that. but I
Trick
was
questions are great.
Yeah. You got
because
me.
you can't get them right. And if you get them right, then they go, "Oh, that wasn't that hard." But the fact of the matter is, there's 3 teams. Here's your question: 3
Right.
teams in the American League that have not lost. Who
Well-
are they?
Well, I know the one that's surprising everybody, even though it's only 4 games, is the Twins.
Yes, that is
Yeah.
surprising me.
Right.
But how about the other 2 teams?
That I don't know.
Well, that's not very good.
No.
You're not going to even take a guess.
No.
One was in the World Series.
Kansas City Royals. I mean the Cleveland Indians.
Cleveland Indians.
All right.
And they're in the same division with Minnesota.
Right.
So, but your Baltimore Orioles are 3-0
Right.
also. So let's talk about the American League.
My Baltimore Orioles.
I not yours, but let's talk about like I said, it's way too early to draw any conclusions about who's going. But you can see everybody's gone through their starting lineup and their starting pitchers.
Right.
You can see what people are coming out with in terms of relief pitchers, who they're going to rely on, who they're going to. So let's start American League East Division. You got Boston, Baltimore, Tampa Bay, and Toronto, and New York.
Right.
Very intriguing division. I think as I look, it's to me. I just think that up and down the line, you got pretty good teams there. And if Tampa Bay gets their act together, you got 5 pretty good teams there. I don't know that Tampa Bay is going to have their act together, and I'm not convinced the Yankees could win that division or come in last. I haven't figured out. I know you're a Yankee fan, so you can have some insight on it. But let's start. Let's start with the Yankees first. What do they have? What do they need? Why do you like him? Why don't you like
Tanaka, surprisingly, he went through spring training. I don't think he gave up a run. He had a fantastic spring training, and then his first game out, he coughed up, I think, 7 runs in 4 innings or something.
What? And that's not really a reflection on. I think it's more a reflection on the importance of spring training games.
Right.
I think, but do I think Tanaka? I think Tanaka's above average pitcher,
Sure.
and I think he's somebody that they're going to have to rely on. But so they're starting pitching. They got Pineda, they got Severino, they got CC Sabathia, and they
Right.
got Tanaka, and they got one more, and I'm trying to think who it is, but I'm blanking on it. But
Well, that's going to be their problem if they don't get good pitching, and they really only have the one guy, Tanaka, and who's usually pretty consistent.
yeah,
Other than that, and I would say CC Sabathia had a great season last year.
yes, he did. Yes, he did.
But after those 2 guys, the rest of it's
Well,
all
that's
suspect.
that. Like I said, and I might be wrong, but they could come in last or they could win it.
Yeah.
So, but looking at their lineup, and like I said, we'll go through all the teams briefly, but as thoroughly as we can. Not anybody that has, I believe his name's Tyler Clippard.
Yeah.
Anybody that's got him in the bullpen, I think, has got problems.
Yeah.
He's like that Francisco Rodney. I just think you haven't got a good bullpen if they're in your bullpen.
Right.
They're 5-point ERA guys for relief pitchers.
Yeah.
And they can overpower you once every week or so. They come in and strike
Right.
out 3 guys, and you go, oh, they found it. No, they haven't.
Right.
They just had their location. But that's me. I mean, and they may obviously somebody contends they're still good enough to be professional pitchers,
Yeah.
and I'll take it at that. But I just don't. The stats don't back it up.
Boy, there is obviously a high drop off from Major League Baseball to AAA, because guys like that, Tyler Clippard, you can't tell me that there's a guy in minor leagues who can do what he does.
What it shows you is that the scouting. I mean, once you're in the major leagues, there's a book on you.
Yeah.
Every pitch you've ever swung and
Sure.
missed. And I don't think it's that way in the minors. There's no reason for it to be.
Right.
But what they figure, once you come up, I mean, don't get me wrong, they've got some statistics, they've got some notes on you.
Right.
But they can just watch you a couple games, and they can figure out what you can and can't hit.
Right.
And if they can't, then they're going to figure that you're a pretty good hitter. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, these guys, these pitchers that go down to minor leagues and dominate and come up and get knocked around. That's
Well, I guess that's my point. Is the drop off must be huge, because you're going to tell me that there's not a guy in the minor leagues who can come up and have a 4.5 ERA to come out of the bullpen
Hard
instead
to
of
believe.
5.5.
Well, like I said, but I'm looking at some of the other pitchers that New York brought up. Holder, Lane. I'm thinking, those are AAA pitchers. I
Right.
think so. But like I said, after 4 games, and I'm not.
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
not pile on the guy.
No.
He had a bad outing.
No, but I watched him on the Mets as well.
Yeah, he's like what's the guy that just there was a guy who was he was good for a year or two, and he's on the disabled. His name was Axel. I can't think of his last name, but a relief pitcher, and he was a good one for a year or two, and he's pitched for about 5 or 6 teams.
Right.
And when he has his stuff, he strikes everybody out.
Right.
But if he doesn't, he just gets nailed.
Yeah.
And the name will come to me. But okay, that's New York, and they're playing Baltimore, and Baltimore relies on a lot of guys that hit home runs but bat 250. And I will see where that gets them. To me, I just don't think they're a playoff team, even though they're undefeated. But I really don't think they are.
Well,
I think they belong in
Here,
3rd or 4th place.
here's the Buck Walter.
Buck Showalter.
Buck Showalter's
The manager.
MO
Yeah.
is he'll have a team that seems really competitive, and then when it gets to September, they'll fade, and that'll be that.
Well, that's there's your prediction. Talk about a prediction. That's a bleak prediction, but
Right.
I wouldn't have thought they would have gotten that far into it. So
Well, they usually do.
No.
They're usually hanging around there, near the top, and then they just kind of fade for some reason.
well, like I said, they're looking,
And
but they're looking at the couple 40 home run guys in the
Yeah.
lineup. That's pretty good.
Sure.
Like, you can't knock that. But an awful lot of strikeouts between Trumbo and
Right.
Davis. I mean, there's gonna be 400 strikeouts between the two of them. But like I said, it used to be it was a crime to strike out.
Right.
Now nobody cares. If you
Yeah.
hit 40 homers, you can strike it all you want.
And I think that's a bad. A strikeout's a bad out.
I think it's unproductive
Right.
to the band unless you can make the guy throw 15 pitches
Right.
and strike you out. But I don't think there's anybody in the major league anymore. There's no Richie Ashburns coming up and fouling off pitches
Right.
and making you work. I don't think.
Right.
Maybe there are. I think the closest I've seen is the second baseman for the Red Sox, Pedroia.
Mhm.
Pedroia battles. He's
Yeah.
old-time battler.
Yeah.
He goes up and he hacks
Yep.
at anything close. He'll spoil it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Right.
Yeah, he's the throwback. He's old time. But so we talked about the Yankees. We talked about Orioles. Don't know if Toronto needs to be addressed. I think Toronto's got some major problems with their pitching staff, and I just don't think it. but I think Batista's probably his best days are behind him. He signed a 1 year, $18 million contract with him. I thought, wow, that's amazing. But like I said, I can hear the music. We got a lot more teams. We got a lot more time, and we will get into the Toronto Blue Jays and take care of the rest of the American League in the next segment.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You are listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. We're sponsored by Bill Bryan Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. They're located at 3401 U.S. Highway 441 in Fruitland Park. Their phone number is 352-787-2223. We will be right back after these messages. We are back with Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ. I'm Greg Moundsuk with your host, Bob Wiltman.
Hey, Greg, I wanted to, I'm throwing myself right back into the baseball. We're going team by team, just talking about how they're doing and what they got. And go ahead.
I just wanted to mention one thing about strikeouts.
Yes.
In Joe DiMaggio's career, 14 years.
14 years.
369 strikeouts.
There's going to be guys that can do that in 2 years. I mean,
there's guys who've done that in a year.
Not quite that many, but they got 250. Yeah, you're right. Adam Dunn, I think, threw about 225 or 230 a couple times, and he's out of baseball young. Right. And it's interesting you mention that because the guys I know that were they probably played longer than they should have. What Pedro Alvarez was the same. He's 30 years old. He's out of baseball. Right. 5 years ago, he hit 38 home runs and batted .270 for Pittsburgh. But he didn't. He couldn't play defense, and he couldn't hit a lefty.
Right.
And so he can't. Obviously, it's not good enough to have a guy on your team just to DH against righties in the American League. I thought that they would, but or else he didn't contribute as much as he should have. But there's a couple guys that probably played longer than they should have.
Yeah, and I don't know if you want to save this for later, but there was actually an article the other day about the average age of baseball players, and it is declined quite a bit.
You mean careers are over earlier?
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you think? Because they're not resting them enough.
Well,
I had to throw that in.
The smallest part in this article, when it was detailing like all of the reasons, it really gave short shrift to steroids and drug use. I mean, they said that that's a factor, but I think that's the number one factor.
I would think it's the biggest factor. Yeah. And so they're saying, what did they contribute it to? The playing surfaces, the grind of the daily schedule.
Yeah, that was some of it.
Well, that daily schedule grind has been around for 50, 60 years.
Right.
It was 154 games until I think 1966, and they took it up to 162 games.
Yeah.
And that's very few guys. With the exception of Cal Ripken, hung in there and played every day, all the time.
Yep.
And now you'd think it'd be easier with the DH, but it didn't help Dunn. It didn't help Alvarez.
No.
Although I guess Dunn, we have to see how many home runs he hit, but he had some ridiculous strikeout numbers.
Yeah.
He struck out all the time, and so did Alvarez, for that matter. But back to Toronto briefly. We'll just I'm looking at the lineup. They're throwing $18 million for 1 year into Batista. I'm rooting against them just for that reason. I mean, can you imagine? Here's a guy who's played for you for like 10 years and fairly productive, and you don't want to give him any more years. So you give him $18 million for 1 year. I think that should be interesting to see how far he's declined, and I think you're going to find out this year. I suspect it's not very good. He batted .225, I think, last year, and I don't know why they think that was an aberration, but we'll find out. So you got Toronto, and the other two teams in the East Division are the Red Sox and the Red Sox are loaded, frankly.
Yeah.
They've got a couple holes in their lineup. If Benintendi, who's their young phenom, who is everybody's choice as like the top rookie in the majors,
Right.
if he has a year and Mookie Betts stays healthy, and Jackie Bradley, who has, to me, just even more upside potential, that and Bogarts, they talk about the killer bees. You got four guys right there that can knock the socks off the ball, and on top of that, you got Pedroia.
Right.
You got my all-time favorite Sandoval playing third base for him, and he really does look like
Boys, he lost a lot of weight though.
he's lost weight and he still looks fat. That's not good, but he looks to me like he is a. I don't know if he's going to provide a whole lot of leadership or speed,
Right.
but he is a good bat. He can still. He's got the bat speed, but they picked up Moreland. They're just loaded.
Yeah.
They're going to score runs, and pitching. Their bullpen is the only thing that when they get to Kimbrough is he's on the downside of his career, but he's a pretty good relief pitcher. But they got some guys in the middle that I'm not sure that they can do the job. But I'll tell you what, they're starting pitching with Porcello and Sale.
Yeah.
And-
I watched that game with Sale. He was
Right.
he
Yeah,
was-
he's unhittable
yeah.
for the Pirates anyhow. But Sale, Wright the knuckleballer, Porcello, and Rodriguez. And they also have Price on the disabled list. So if he comes back and he's any good at all, that's pretty good pitching. So Boston's going to be that's 90 wins for Boston. The thing is, I don't know if we'll have to see. New York potentially could get 90, and I think they're the only other team. Tampa Bay, I think, has some decent players in place, but they're not yet strong enough to compete
Yeah.
with those teams. They're not. I don't think they're a 500 team. So that's the East. The Central will be brief. We got Minnesota undefeated. That's not going to last much longer. Smart move. They took that Sano, who I thought was the biggest dog I'd ever seen at third base, and moved him to first, which is usually the first step out the door. That's saying, okay, you can't play defense for us, but we still like your bat. So when they stop liking his bat, he's going to be gone. But so Minnesota, Phil Hughes pitched yesterday, his first win in a year.
Phil Hughes.
Yeah, so that's. I don't think you're going to get by relying on Phil Hughes, but I
No.
might be wrong. And they still have Dozier, who's 140 years old, and he's still playing for him. I know that they got his Maurer. I guess Maurer either retired or he's traded or something. I don't see him in the lineup, but maybe he's hurt also, which wouldn't surprise me. But he's got to be 35, 36. And Cleveland looks like the real deal again.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody in that division that's going to knock them off. I guess Detroit's okay. Chicago and Kansas City. But Kansas City just has fallen apart at the seams.
Yeah.
It seems that way to me. So,
Truthfully, I don't know how they made it to the World Series twice and won it once.
well, they had the hitters in place,
Yeah.
and they had some good pitching, but the one guy signed Zobrist. They lost a couple guys,
Yeah.
and they aren't good. They weren't deep enough.
Right.
They won because they stayed healthy in
Yeah.
a year
Yeah.
where they were good. But as you know, if you don't have any depth, somebody gets hurt. That's a gaping hole in your lineup.
Yeah.
You can't replace the runs. I'm sure their run production was down. And the West Division, which looks like that's you got a lot of offense, it's still not nearly as good as the East Division. You got Houston. L.A. keeps running out a lineup that just amazes me. I've got to see how they think they're improving themselves. Texas, I think, will be good. Seattle will be good. Houston looks like they have the best team in that division, still to me, even though
Right.
Texas won last year.
Right.
But like I said, way too early to tell. But just going through them, I want to see why the Angels. Everybody keeps thinking that the Angels are going to do something remarkable, or and every time I watch them play, I think they're not. They just don't seem like they're that strong top to bottom to me. But let's go to the American from the American League to the National League.
Well, you left out the Mariners.
Well, outside of Felix and Cano.
Well, because there's big news in Seattle.
What's that now?
They're serving toasted grasshoppers in their concession stand now, in a chili lime salt
For purposes of what? To throw at players or to eat?
to eat. Toasted grasshoppers, $4.
Oh well, $4 you can't pass that up.
Right.
Everywhere I've been, they've been $6. Wait, so you're telling me? I guess concessions in Seattle aren't what they need to be.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I haven't been to a ballpark in the last 15 years that still sells Cracker Jack. So you might as well take that out of the seventh inning stretch.
Right.
Take me out to the ball game. But so buy me some peanuts and toasted grasshoppers. I don't care if I don't know how you make that rhyme,
Right.
but the fact of the matter is that's interesting. So I didn't mean to skip over that, but now like I said,
now we can go to the National
yeah,
League.
Cano and Hernandez, and good luck.
Right.
So we'll see if they get it turned around. They might, but I'm not seeing anything in their lineup that makes me think they're going to bring anything to the table. National League, interesting. Let's talk about the East, because I think the East is top heavy with 2 teams
Right.
and 3 teams that are awful. I think the Nats and the Mets are good. I think the other teams aren't.
Well, Atlanta's got a lot of young players.
Oh, we have Cologne and Dickey.
Well, that's they got a lot.
Hey, let's take a look. Yeah, they got guys I never heard of. Well, they got Matt Kemp. He's probably 35.
Right.
They got Suzuki catching for him. He's 35 and he bats 180. I guess Freddie Freeman's early 30s, and Inciarte is pretty good. I saw him in the World Baseball
Right.
Classic. He looked like he's pretty talented, but he's just not a good hitter. So, and Nick Markakis is in his
Well, maybe
probably
maybe I'm
mid-30s.
wrong.
Well,
Maybe I bought into the Atlanta hype that
You
they
did.
said with their young
I'll tell you
players.
what, I'm looking at their starting pitcher, and
Well, that's a
between
different story.
Dickey, Cologne, and Colemender, they got guys in their mid-30s.
Right.
Colemender's like the spring chicken. He's 35. So we'll see where it gets him, but I don't think it's going to get him 65
No,
wins.
no, I don't.
I don't think they're going to win 65 games.
Right.
And Philadelphia is got now. See, I would think they got better young players than the
Atlanta.
Braves do, but they also have no pitching
Yeah.
at all.
Right.
So it's going to be tough. So when they're playing the Nationals, classic Nationals, who were beating them 7-0 and ended up 7-6. So all the guys were able to get their. The batters managed to keep their stats decent, but you don't want to get behind by 7 runs. That's kind of silly. They almost pulled it off, but almost doesn't get you anywhere.
Yeah. Tough
But
to dig out of a 7-0.
so you got Philadelphia, and you got now the Marlins. Intriguing. Obviously, they lost their pitcher.
Right.
But they have Stanton's going to be a key, and how do you rely on him? I mean, he can just he can carry a team or go in the tank, and
Feast or famine with him.
well, that's right. I like that phrase, and it's feast or famine with him, and Yelich is a good player. I mean, they've got a couple good players to
Right.
build around, but you got to have somebody you can depend on, and I just don't think you can depend on Stanton. I don't think you can, but like I said, it'll depend. They'll go as far as their pitchers go. They may be a 500 team, but to me, the Mets are Mets will be a 90-win team, and the Nats will be close to a 100-win team this year, I think, because they're playing those teams
Yeah.
like Philadelphia. They're going to play those teams so many times. They're going to build up, So that'll be intriguing. I
Right.
think that the Cubs look like the cream of the crop of the Central by far. You got some young Cincy pitchers that are making things exciting for Cincinnati. Pittsburgh looks like a very run-of-the-mill team. Milwaukee looks worse than that, and St. Louis does not look to be offensively. They just look to me like they're.
Yeah, but somehow they manage.
Well, they picked up Dexter Fowler, but he's not. He's the power guy. He's not. I mean, they need somebody who can hit the ball out of the ballpark, and they don't have anybody.
Right.
I'm looking at their lineup: Fowler, Diaz, Carpenter, Biscotti, Peralta. I mean, There may be some 15 homer guys in there, but no more than that. And speaking of St. Louis, did you see the Molina thing where the ball stuck to his,
Yeah.
and then they asked, and I liked his answer. It's how did that happen? He goes, how do you think it happened? I thought, well, okay. That's one way acting offended when you get asked how a ball stuck like a Nerf ball sticking to a chest protector. He's looking all over the place for it. It's stuck to his chest protector. I don't know if anybody saw the play, but there was a play at the plate and the ball hit him and came up and stuck to his chest protector.
A little too much pine tar.
A little stick-em on there. So, but yeah, I like the fact that he was offended and took. How can you ask me that question? Well, the ball's not supposed to stick to you. It's a hard ball. Right. It's not supposed to stick to your clothing, but it did. But I like that. But I think Chicago's got a. I'm going to say it because you like to see everybody have a competitive division, but I think Chicago's going to win this by 20 games.
Right.
I don't see anybody that can
even
come close to them. So I hate to give them short shrift. Milwaukee looks almost like Atlanta. They're looking weak, and Cincinnati's got some young pitchers, and they got that Hamilton guy who can run like the wind, but he can't get on base. We'll see what happens. So it should be interesting. Right now the pitchers holding up, and we go to the West Division, and again. The Dodgers look like the team to beat with Kershaw and Ryu, and they just I don't know if they've got. And is Jepson still their closer? Yeah, they have a lineup with a bunch of strikeout guys. You talk about a strikeout guy that there's what's his name, Peterson, their center fielder. He whiffs every third time at bat, but he hits home runs. I mean, so. But that, like I said, it's definitely not Duke Snyder. Right. So you just have to see what happens. But
well, you're talking about strikeouts again. You brought up Adam Dunn.
Yes.
I brought up Joe DiMaggio.
Yeah.
Adam Dunn has 2,000 more strikeouts than in the same amount of years. They both played 14 seasons. He's got 2,000 more strikeouts than.
Okay,
Joe
so that's 100 more a year, and more than that's 150 more a year. Well, I guess that's why Joe's in the Hall of Fame and Adam isn't. But what did Adam do? He batted like 220 or something.
I don't
no, that's okay. I have to call it up. But it's interesting you brought him up because he was.
Well, you brought him up. I was just curious how many strikeouts.
Classic whiff. Right. Just a classic strikeout.
But again, it goes back to that sabermetrics where they say, "Oh, well, an out doesn't matter."
He hit 40. He hit 48 home runs one year, I think. So about 220, and it depends again how the team is built. If it's built for speed, but it's like Baltimore. Baltimore is expecting to beat you with home runs,
right?
And if they don't hit them, they're not going to beat you.
Right.
And I'm sorry, there's enough good pitchers in the division. I don't think they're going to beat
that
many teams with home runs. But no, I'm glad you threw that in because I was curious myself to see how that went. But we've got one more division to go, and we'll talk about the West Division, and we can do some more mini rants, which we're very good at, and we'll take it from there. But thank you for the Adam Dunn, Joe DiMaggio comparison. A lot of you guys might have thought there's not much difference between the two.
Not much. Thank you. You're listening to Red Zone Radio Sports here in WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. Sponsored by Bill Bryant Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 3401 U.S. Highway 441 in Fruitland Park. Their number is 352-787-2223. And we will be right back after these messages. We are back with Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410. We're wrapping up the final hour here.
Yeah, and we got one more division to talk about, and we'll be brief. And then we've got a couple mini baseball rants and some other things we want to talk about with baseball. But we've talked about all the divisions, but the West Division in the National League, and I think we can. I don't know how to evaluate Colorado just yet. I do know this Arenado is one heck of a player and a heck of a batter for them. And I don't know if LeMahieu and Blackman continue their hitting that they've done, and Story even. But if they can repeat their years and they get any type of pitching, which I don't think they have, I think they can probably produce 85 to 90 wins. But I still think you're at best a 500 team, and that's based strictly on their pitching staff. Unless they've got a phenom that I'm not aware of. Off to a good start at 4-1. So is Arizona. I feel about Arizona the same way I feel about Colorado. I'm just not. I still think Los Angeles and San Francisco, even though San Francisco's 1-4, I think San Francisco puts a heck of a lineup on the field, and they're very productive when they start hitting. You can go through Belt and Crawford and Pence and Panic. I mean, they've got some very good batters. And once you got Baumgartner and Kane. There's some guys on that team, and Cueto. They're just wonderful pitchers.
Right.
So I think that it's going to be between the Dodgers and the Giants, just like it was last year. And I think, unfortunately, bringing up the rear, the Padres. The Padres. I almost defy you or anybody else to give me two people in their starting lineup. You can't do it. So that's, we'll see where that takes us. But the Padres they're off to a 2-3 start, and I think that's as good as it's going to get for them. So that being said, it looks to me if we want to do some picks, I'll be glad to do some picks. Based on what I see, the American League, I think the team that's going to win the American League East is Boston.
Right.
I think that Cleveland's got the Central, and I think that Houston will beat Texas and win the West. In the National League, I think the Nats are going to win. I think the Cubs are going to have a ridiculous 110-win season, and I think the Dodgers are going to hold on and win the West. And once you get in the playoffs, as they always say, anything can happen.
Right,
it's a new season.
You forgot the two wild cards.
Oh, okay. Let's see. The wild cards probably don't have a chance. I would think in the American League, I would think the wild card would be Texas.
All right.
And I would think the wild card in the National League would be I'd be the Mets. I think the Mets are going to be the wild card. They got the pitchers. To me, if their batters even come through at all, and Harvey looks good,
right.
You get Harvey, DeGrom, and Syndergaard. And I know that the lefty, what's his name, Matt?
Matt,
yeah. If he's Wheeler's healthy,
right.
They're going to be running out some pretty good arms.
Yeah.
So we'll see where it gets them. The lineup, there's a couple unprovens in there, but Cespedes is going to hit.
Yeah.
Walker, I hope he returns to form. Bruce is going to be everybody's it's just a frustrating guy.
Right.
Carry the team for 2 weeks and then totally disappear. You won't be able to hit the ball. You won't be able to pop it up. Yeah. But that's how he's always played. So that being the case, as I look through all the lineups and I look through all of the box scores, I'm going to go back to one of my rants. And my rant is and I always blame him, and it's probably not true, what Tony La Russa did to baseball. And it's this ridiculous notion, and I mean ridiculous, that you've got to have a seventh inning man, a setup man for your closer, and a closer. What you're doing is, if a guy is pitching a good ball game for 6 innings, you're taking him out and putting in guys that there's a 1 in 3 chance that they may not have their stuff.
Right.
And if they don't, they can get, and especially your closer. If you have a closer that's every other game stinks. You hear me, Francisco Rodney? I mean, then you've got problems.
Right.
You cannot afford to have teams rally indiscriminately. I mean, I'm looking, and most of the times you see guys that pitch 6 innings, they yank them. Detroit, okay. Fulmer leaves the Detroit game, pitches 6 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, and his bullpen gives up 5. I mean, they blew the game for. I mean, he doesn't get a win.
Right.
To me, they give the win to a guy who pitched the third of an inning, gave up 3 hits and 1 run, and we talked about that before.
Yeah.
How can you give that guy literally a win when he basically
Yeah.
threw the game in the toilet,
Right.
and you came back?
Right.
But that's not going to change. But also, as I look, I'm trying to think if there are a lot of the starting pitching was acceptable, pretty good. But I'm trying to think of guys that blew leads, and there's a lot of 5 runs in the first inning. There were a lot of 10-8 games yesterday, 7-6, 8-7. The guy's name was Axford, the relief pitcher I was trying to think of, but he's still in the league, and he was good for a year or two, and then he disappeared. But this whole the notion of pitch counts and working your bullpen, and he's my 7th inning guy. Why? Is he a good pitcher? Then pitch him whenever you want to.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a pitcher that says, "Well, I can't pitch if it's not the 7th inning."
Yeah, but they are. There are guys like that now.
Well, I guess they feel that that's their job.
Yeah.
And the rest of it's not their job.
Right.
But I mean, to me, it's just totally silly.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But what changes? Because when you're a kid, and I mean, I never thought of saying like, oh, I'm only going to play, first base, or only going to play catcher, or whatever.
Yeah.
I never thought. I was just so happy to play growing up. When does that change?
I don't know.
In somebody's psyche where, I don't think that there's really a big difference. They talk about like, he's a right fielder, but, you put him in left field and he's lost. I mean,
yeah,
there's that big of a...
Well, I mean, you have to. I guess you have to know the stadiums, but as far as approaching the fly ball and hitting the cutoff man,
right?
I'm not sure I see a difference in that either. Yeah, I agree with you.
I just don't understand. Maybe the infield, is a little different, but I don't even really see that, because they took Reyes, and he's just an example that's on the top of my mind. He's actually playing a very good third base. I mean, is he the best third baseman in the world? No, but he's certainly competent.
So he's taking over for David Wright,
Yeah.
and doing an acceptable job.
Yes.
And that's all you can ask. Acceptable is everything.
And
if he's acceptable, he's acceptable, and that's good.
And to me, he's so thrilled to be playing
Oh,
in
yeah.
New York again.
Oh, yeah.
That he'll. I think if they said whatever position, he would try it.
Yeah.
But you get these players who go, no, not going to do it. And I mean, they've got it in their contracts, and it's just like, to me, it's so bizarre.
Well, it is bizarre. And what's the other position? Well, a lot of guys come up as catchers.
Right.
Remember, they used to be catchers. They'd stay in there and they'd catch for 15 years, and then now you can only catch for so many years. Then you got to put them at first or third base. Right. And I thought, Carlton Fisk played till he was 40 catching. Buster Posey, who really ripped his leg up, is probably going to catch till he's 40. I mean, I don't.
I probably see him at first base, but there are guys.
Well,
I mean, you look at like.
Why?
Well, I think because it does take a toll on your body. Some guys can be beaten up. Like you're talking Fisk. I mean, that's a guy who could be beaten up all the time. And he recovered, but there's been other guys who start to get beaten up, and they just can't, play that position anymore.
All right, well, I'll buy that. But so, what do you think?
I think catcher is
the life expectancy. Well, you're right; it is the most grueling.
Right.
But what do you think's the life expectancy of a catcher before he becomes a first or third baseman?
I think it's different for everybody.
Okay,
I don't think that there's a rule that. You look at like Yogi Berra. He finished his career in the outfield. So did the Cincinnati great, who slips my mind, Johnny Bench.
Yeah.
Didn't he move to third base or something?
No, I think they put him at first.
Was it first? Okay.
I can't remember, but I can't. Yeah, but
but those are guys.
But they played. But they played 15 years.
Yeah.
But he caught till he's 36.
Right.
And that's what I'm talking about. Guys now that. They get to be 28, and Neil Walker came up as a catcher. He wasn't a very good one, but to make him a second baseman, a guy that size, he's adequate.
Just just some advice for all of you little leaguers who have dreams of making it to Major League Baseball.
Be a catcher.
Be a catcher.
Yep. That's how you. If you can catch, and turn, then you can hit. That's
All right.
But like I said, the catchers are. It seems like the catchers have they're almost all foreign. I mean, there's no American catchers anymore. I'm looking, Molina, Rivera. It's amazing. Garneau, Grandal. I mean, it's amazing that. I wanted to bring that up only because it's coddling players a little bit, and I don't know is there a proven benefit to doing what they're doing? I don't know that there's any way you can prove it.
Yeah.
It's almost like trying to prove, is it okay? How can you prove freezing the kicker doesn't work?
Right.
You can't.
Right.
So there's no way you can prove this doesn't work.
Right.
So what are you going to do? But it's just annoying to me that, okay, we're going to have to move him around a little bit. And we're going to have to, if you can play ball, Craig Biggio, Neil Walker, you can play anywhere.
Right.
And they can.
Yeah.
They can play anywhere.
I think
Pete Rose.
Yeah.
You can play anywhere.
And I think it has more to do with the attitude than if you tell yourself, well, I can't play left field, then you can't play, then you'll never be able to play left field. But if you trot out there,
who in the heck would say that? You got to be crazy.
There are players.
Yeah, I know. Well, obviously they're good enough hitters. They can balk
I
at
don't even
stuff.
know about that either.
But
sometimes.
But no, it's just the rant to me is always. I started out with the rant on the pitchers, and it still is to me the biggest mystery in the world. Why you take pitchers out if they give up a hit or a walk?
Right.
Isn't that usually what happens? I'm trying to think if Bob Gibson or Don Drysdale, what would they would have done if they were pitching a shutout and you came out and got them in the seventh inning and said that's enough.
Right.
I think they'd hit you with the ball.
Right.
I mean that why I don't get that, and
Right.
so, but that's like I said, it's the coddling thing. I don't know if it's a cultural thing. I don't know what it is, but I guess they figure less pitching is got to be better finishable.
Right.
Less throws, less pitches, and I think no, because sometimes you're pitching to get out of a sixth inning, out of a jam, and you're pitching harder than you pitch in the eighth inning in some games. I mean, it just depends. It's all situational. It has nothing to do with okay, it's seventh innings here, you're done.
Right.
But that's what every team does, and it bothers the heck out of me.
Right.
Yes. Ralph is here.
Ralph is in the
That's what I
house.
like to see. Ralph is on the house.
River Jordan and friends.
Stay
coming
close.
Up.
They will be here in less than 5 minutes. Yeah. So River Jordan, great spiritual uplifting. You love that.
Right.
But as I say, as we close on the door, I just I am cynical and to the point that I challenge the new rule.
Yes.
There's no explanation. Just like in football, I challenge the freezing the kick. I challenge this.
Right.
You can't tell me there's a proven benefit to putting you have pitchers that are rested, and you're going to throw them in and have them pitch an inning because this is what they do. This is what he's here strictly to pitch the seventh inning. No, you've determined that. I want to know how you determined that. I mean, why can he only pitch the seventh inning and not Jorge, who's in the bullpen?
Right.
I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, but nobody will ever challenge them.
Well, I'm always perplexed nowadays how a major league pitcher cannot get a guy out. Like he comes in from the bullpen to pitch to one guy, and he can't get him out. It's not like you're expected to go 3 innings or whatever. You come in, you're the lefty specialist, and you can't get the guy out.
Not only that, but why would anybody ever be put in a situation you're brought into a pro game, and you're a professional pitcher? You're going to pitch to one guy.
Right.
Why?
Well,
I've never faced a righty.
Maybe
you think I've never faced a righty in my life?
Maybe it's Tony La Russa, the ghost of Tony La Russa, but be that as it may, I just don't understand why you can't get that one guy out.
But there are some guys, and I'm sure the stats will verify bringing in the lefty to pitch. But there's some lefties that do better against lefties than righties.
Sure.
I mean, so, and again, then we get into the old, well, he's 2 for 11 off Sandy Koufax there, and so you got to bring him into pitch. And I say he's 2 for 11, but 3 of the outs were line drives right back at the pitcher.
Right.
I mean, to me, it's all silly, and it's flawed technology in that you're saying I have control over when I hang a curveball.
Right.
I don't. So if I wanted to hang a curveball every time I could, but I try not to ever do it. But when I do, I happen to do it. I just so happen to do it to David Wright, or I just so happen to do it so they hit a home run. That doesn't mean the guy owns me. It means I threw a bad pitch to him,
Right.
or twice. But it just amazes me.
And that's why I kind of like those managers that play, some of their moves by their gut feeling.
They got you have to.
It's
Yeah. If a guy's, but especially in pitching, if a guy's effective and nobody's getting the ball to the infield, don't take him out of the game.
Yeah.
Just so Joe can come in and get a save. No, don't do that. Let him get the save. Well, okay. The rant is over, and thank you very much for. I thank the audience. I thank Greg. I thank Tony LaRussa. The fastest 2 hours in sports. Thanks so much, folks. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Take
sir.
us out.
It's a pleasure. You're listening to Red Zone Radio here on WQBQ. We're here every Saturday from 10 to noon, and I'm going to post the audio of this show if you want to hear it again. Obviously, if you missed it, you wouldn't know that I'm telling you I'm going to post the audio, but we appreciate you. Tell your friends, and we will see you